Minister of Finance and Treasury Honorable Manasseh Sogavare reiterates his seriousness about reforming the country's tax exemption. Sharon now reports.
Minister of Finance and Treasury Honorable Manasseh Sogavare reiterates he is serious about reforming the country's tax exemption processes. The opposition leader, Honorable Matiwale, last week called out the Janet government's decision to provide tax exemption to One Cheng Company Limited as blatant betrayal of the people of Solomon Islands. Honorable Wale, in a press statement, said Honorable Sogavare's decision to provide tax exemption to One Cheng Company Limited reflects he is not serious in reforming the tax exemption as he has previously announced in Parliament.
The reforms that I want to pursue in the ministry are progressing very well. On exemptions in particular, my directive to review the tax-related issues on mining companies have been completed. And together with the Attorney General's office, we are working on the new draft clauses which will be renegotiated with the mining companies. Most mining companies that I've spoken to have no problems with the proposed amendments to the agreement. Until these agreements are renegotiated, ladies and gentlemen, and adopted, my hands are tied when it comes to applications for exemptions that are done under the existing agreements. I'm also in the process of issuing instructions to the Exemptions Committee on my intentions to review recipients of big exemptions like the case under consideration that are still current with the view to establishing how the exemptions have been utilized. Any further considerations on their applications for extension of exemption will be decided on the basis of them submitting properly authenticated projected profit and loss statements to establish how any further government indirect budgetary assistance will impact their operations. I am also in the process of reviewing the non-statutory exemption application form to establish its adequacy in terms of the information that the Exemption Committee should request from any applicants for exemptions. The quantum of exemptions should be based on proper assessments of the profitability of the business and not some random figures and percentage. I'm also in the process of reviewing the effectiveness of the Exemption Committee in terms of its analysis of the applications received. There is a need to set up a proper continuous monitoring system on the utilization of the tax exemption, which will enable me to properly brief Cabinet on the effects of government's indirect assistance to recipients of tax exemptions. And I've discussed it with the chairman of the Exemption Committee this morning. On the broader concern for improvement in government revenue, Cabinet will shortly consider a number of institutional and structural adjustments to improve collection of non-tax revenue. These will be announced as soon as the Cabinet consider my memorandum and also will be announced on the floor of Parliament.
Honorable Sogavare explains current tax exemption is statutory and non-statutory. He adds there are different classes of tax exemption. Sharon now, SIBC TV.